Did I do it? Did I stay under my $400 grocery budget for January? I'm not gonna make you wait till the end. We're gonna jump right into it. I went on 5 kind of different shopping trips, 4, and then I'll explain. So trip number 1 that I made was to Meijer, and I spent $116.12. Now next was Sam's Club. My husband was doing I think an online order. We needed something random. And so he was like, hey, do you need any food? I threw crackers on there, like club crackers. They were $8.98. Okay, so that one's kind of random. I'm calling it trip number 2, but it was literally just crackers from Sam's Club. Now I will say these crackers were a great deal. I did like price compare to what I normally pay. I say like Kroger or Meijer, and it was a really good deal. So I was like, yeah, I need to buy those for sure. The third trip was again Meijer, and I spent $111.46. Trip number 4 was Meijer, and I was trying to skip this week. I feel like a lot of my grocery runs are about $120. So if I go 4 times, I'm gonna go over budget. So I'm trying to shoot for almost 3 grocery shops, but I squeezed in a little one for trip number 4. I think I needed, gosh, I don't remember. I think I might've needed something for my daughter's birthday or something random. Maybe we were entertaining and I just needed a couple things for a dinner I had planned. So anywho, trip number 4 to Meijer, I only spent $18.21. And then my 5th trip was a trip to Meijer, and now we just had a snowstorm and I did not run to the store before the snowstorm. I was like, I have plenty of food, I'm gonna wait. So I went after the snowstorm, hadn't been in a while, and definitely did a little bit of stocking up on some items. So that is my last trip, is trip number 5. And I spent $126.29. So $126.29. So for all of these trips, I spent $381.06. I stayed under my $400 budget. We cooked at home. We do packed lunches. We actually had some snow days where I fed my kids from home. We had, let's see, the beginning of January would have been the end of Christmas break. My kids were home then as well. We had a couple holidays, this, that, and the other. Anyway, with all those days home from school, feeding my kids, I stayed under budget. Now, I do want to remind you for this challenge, I'm doing it all of 2026. Every single month, I'm going to get on here and tell you if I stayed under my $400 budget. If I find things on deals, I can go up to $500, like super great deal on meat, and I, throw in the freezer. But $400 is a stretch goal. Now, what does this include? It is food for my family. Okay, it is snack food. It is food. It's not Ziploc bags. It's not trash bags, foil, saran wrap. It is none of that. Toilet paper, paper towels. I know some people, if they have pets, they're like kitty litter or dog food, they'll buy that at the grocery store. We don't have any pets, so none of that is counting. I'm also not counting alcohol because some families drink, some families don't. We don't a ton, but it can really throw your budget off. And I want this budget to be comparable to a family that, say, isn't drinking. I don't want to include that and skew the numbers, if that makes sense. So leaving that out when I do buy that, okay? Now, some people might argue, oh, you spent under $400 at the grocery store, but how many times did you eat out? I feel that. So we ate out twice. All right, that is what I've said is my average, and lately it really has been. We went out on January 4th. We went to Mexican, and we spent an even $33. And then on January 10th, we went out to just like a mid-level restaurant, kind of like a burger joint, and we ended up spending $49.10. So our total for eating out was $82.10. So we spent under $100 eating out as well, which is great. That's where I'd like to see it, but for us, we're to the point where going out to eat costs typically around $50. So we can eat out twice at around $100. If we hit that third time, we're obviously at $150. We don't live by a strict budget. We live more like live frugally and the numbers will work themselves out. So anywho, no strict budget on that. But what I'm seeing lately is we eat out about twice a month. Okay? So that is what we did for this month. I'm very proud of it. My house still has plenty of food. Like my freezers still have meat. My pantry staples, some of them are a little bit low, but they're not terrible. So I think this is possible. And just for more reference, we are a family of 4 living in the Midwest in the United States. All right, now we're gonna jump into the grocery hauls. If you wanna see exactly what I bought, how much the items cost here, maybe compared to what you're spending, and yeah, what the grocery hauls look like. All right, so let's jump right into grocery haul number 1. For my first trip to Meijer, we got bananas for $2.55. Then we got strawberries for $2.50. These previously were $4.49. Fruit is outrageous. It is winter. Cilantro for 89 cents. I pick all the leaves off, put them in a baggie, and it stores really well in the fridge.
Now we got I believe 6 count of mini avocados for $2.99. This was on sale. Jalapenos, these 3 jalapenos cost me only 79 cents. That is so much flavor for so little money. Cucumbers were on sale for $5, putting them at $1.25 each, or $5. I shouldn't have bought 4. I'm not going to lie, 1 went to waste. Red pepper was $1.69. We got 4 Honeycrisp apples. They were on sale for $1.35 per pound, which is great for Honeycrisp. They cost me $2.01. 1 yellow onion for $1.02. This is a 24 count of hot dogs, and this cost me $5.59. Then I got hamburgers. I believe this is an 8-pack. They were 2 pounds total and $12. So that puts it at like $6 a pound. Bologna was $2.69. I got 4 rolls of ground beef, and this was on sale. It was $4.49 each, totaling $17.96. Then I got 2 Greek yogurts, $1.78 total, and these are for making pizza crust. Then I got a big yogurt at $2.99. Whole milk was $1.59. Meyer milk goes bad so quickly. Does anybody else agree with this? 2 heavy whipping creams for $6.38. Heavy whipping cream is expensive. That's why I tried to buy the whole milk for certain recipes. Now this cheese is for my non-dairy child. It is dairy-free, and they were $2.69 each. Then we got some green chilies. I was making, what was I making? White chicken enchiladas. So I bought these. They were $3.38. Then we got some tortillas, a 20 count for $2.50. Peanut butter was $4.49. Gnocchi for $2.69 each, or $5.38 total. And then honey for $12.49. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to do some categories. This would go in the baking category, where things can be expensive, but they can last a very long time, such as the sugar, which I got for $3.49. So stay tuned for those categories at the end. They're going to be really interesting. Hamburger buns were $1.59. And then I got 3 bags of chips here for $5. Typically, I would get them for $2 a piece, but I believe there was a coupon. Trip number 2 wasn't really a trip. It was just Sam's Club. My husband was getting some items, and he asked me if I needed anything, and I threw crackers on the order. It was the only food item for $8.98, which was a great deal when I compared the amount of sleeves to what I would buy at Kroger or Meijer. The third trip is back to Meijer, and I got bananas. These were $1.02. Then I got Honeycrisp apples. Now they were $1.71 per pound, so I paid $2.55, so a little bit higher than the previous week. Avocados, $3.49. They were not on sale. Last week they were cheaper. Red onion was $2.11. I got 2 jalapenos on this one, and it was 22 cents. Sorry, this day the lighting was not very good in my kitchen. I think it was a very cloudy day, so the lighting's a little bit funky. Colby Jack cheese, the big block for $7.29. Parmesan cheese, these were 3 for $6, so $6 total here. I got, again, cheese for my non-dairy child, and they were on sale. These 2 together were $5.98, and then I got 3 more in like a different flavor, and this was $8.97. So I think I paid $2.99 each on those. I stocked up. Almond milk was $2.29. This stick butter was $1.29 each, or $2.58 total. I got a larger thing of whole milk. I think they didn't have any half gallons. I paid $2.22 for this. Eggs I got for $1.99. I should have stocked up on more, because now here in February, they're more like $2.49. Bologna was on sale. I got it for $1.99. So that's cheaper than my shopping trip number 1. Greek yogurt I got for making more pizza crust. This was $3.89. Chicken breast, 1 package was $10.41. The other one was $13.75. Chocolate chips were $7.99 each, or $15.98. Again, baking stuff can be expensive, but it can last a long time. Now, I did get a cake mix. It was on sale for $1.25. $1.25 is not bad. I typically make things from scratch, but I'm really bad at making cakes. Cheerios were on sale, and I got one for $3.99. My kid likes pudding cups in their lunchbox. I spoil them on this, and it is a treat. They were $1.69 each, or $3.38 total. My husband recently got some vanilla protein powder in, so for a treat, we got him some chocolate syrup to mix in for $2.99. The tortilla chips here were $2 and $2, so $4 total there. And then we got a bag of barbecue for another $2. Again, that was trip number 3, totaling at $111.46. Trip number 4, back to Meijer, This is a smaller trip. We got cilantro, 89 cents. I love fresh cilantro. I will be planting it this summer for sure. Blackberries were on sale for 99 cents. Went ahead and snagged those. They're not an item I always get. Only one of my children likes them. So it was on sale. Strawberries were 2 for $5, so $2.50 each. That is a decent price for my store. Jalapeno pepper, 19 cents. Coleslaw was $1.59, and that's the reason I went into the store. I believe we were doing pulled pork, and I didn't have any slaw, so wanted to make that trip. Eggs, they were $1.99 here. Again, they're going to go up here soon. So this was $3.98 total. Bread, $1.99. Buns, $1.59. Also wanted those for the pulled pork. And tortilla shells at $1.99. Again, this was trip number 4, totaling $18.21. Trip number 5, we're back to Meijer. I think this was the end of the month, like January 28th. Now, this was right after the snowstorm, and they didn't have chicken breasts, so I bought 2 whole chickens this time just to give it a try and see how that goes. So the whole chickens were actually buy one, get one 50% off, so it was $7.66 and $3.79. Then I got bologna. It was $2.69. Sausage, I did 5 of them. They were $3.29 each, so I paid $16.45 for all this meat. Now, I do want to say, again, those categories, I'm going to have meat sectioned off, and you can see just how much I spent. And also guess which category was the most expensive. Heavy whipping cream for $3.19, so that totaled $9.57. Then I got bacon for $4.49 each, and these were only 12 ounces. Watch out for 12 ounces versus 16 ounces. I still felt like it was fair enough. I also just needed it, so I got 3 of those, and it ended up being $13.47. We had breakfast for dinner on the menu and also had family coming in, and I wanted to serve them bacon. Hot dogs, $6.69. Now, at the grocery store, this is kind of ridiculous, but I saw the cold almond milk, and I got it for $2.99, but then I also ran into the room temperature ones for $2.29 each. So anywho, I got almond milk to put in the fridge, and then I got 2 to put in the pantry for later. The pantry ones were $2.29 each, totaling $4.58. Strawberries, I got 2 for $6, so $3 a piece. Not my best price. Lettuce, a head of lettuce is $2.49. I feel like that is outrageous. I don't know when this price went up so much. I got a red pepper for $1.69. Some Pink Lady apples for $1.93 total. Coleslaw for $1.99. Chives for 99 cents. I will plant those in dirt to make them last longer. Bananas for $2.73. Yellow potatoes or golden potatoes for $2.99. Avocados for $2.99. Jalapeno peppers for 49 cents. Some country crock butter for $6.19. This will be in the dairy category. Even things that you might not consider the healthiest dairy, I'm going to still count it as dairy. Then we got canned corn for $1.58. Not my best price there. We got some Velveeta like cheese pouches to mix in with noodles, and that was $3.59. I really need to start making homemade mac and cheese. We got small taco shells for $1.69 and large taco shells for $3.19. I have not started making those homemade either. Bread for $1.99, elbow pasta for $4.38 total. And then we got 3 bags of chips for $6 and another 3 bags for $6. It's like 2, 2, and 2 here at the end. So altogether, I spent $12 on chips on this final trip. And then my grand total for all the trips was $381.06, which I'm very proud of that number. Now, let's go ahead and divide it up into the categories. I think this is so interesting. So fruit and vegetables, $58.79. Meat and eggs, $121.11. Dairy, including non-dairy like fake dairy, $83.26. Baking items, $33.21. I thought this category was going to be higher. Bread, and this is like tortillas, things like that, $24.91. Random, $28.81. This is peanut butter, gnocchi, the green chilies in the can. And then junk for $29.36. This would be the chips, the chocolate syrup, the pudding cups, things like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and break it down in a little quickie chart for you. If you start at the top right, that's where the fruit and veggies are at 17%. The meat and eggs, you can really see that was about 1/3 of my grocery budget. Dairy coming in at almost 1/4 of my budget. And from there, the categories get a little bit smaller. I'm proud of the fact that junk is not a huge category for me. I really am proud of that. What would your categories be? How would you break down your grocery shop? Go ahead on your next grocery run, take that receipt when you get home and calculate it. Do the numbers. It doesn't take much time, but it can bring you so much value in the answers and the results that you find. I have a whole playlist going over every month of the year, and I also did December of 2025 to kick this off. So if you're interested, find the playlist down in the description. Subscribe if you want to follow along and see what the next month is going to hold and if I can stay under that $400 grocery budget.